Hi and welcome back to Braid, which is, yeah, we're in part 3 now, but this is the World 4, time and place. And, yeah, for this theme, the outlook is cloudy. Now, to explain a bit of these mechanics, you can see it being demonstrated here. In this world, when you move left, time reverses, and when you move right, time goes forward. Which can make some pretty mind-bending puzzles, I must say. But yeah, it does get a bit tricky later on, but I managed to figure it out. Now this level here, if you saw the title card just there, it's called Jumpman. And like a fun fact, that was Mario's original name, Jumpman. Or I think it was Mr. Video Game. But either way, I'm glad they stuck with Mario. That's, you know, it's better to give your character an actual name. And yeah, like I was saying, that first piece of level design, the set piece there, that's actually like a little tribute to the Mario games, the first one, which I believe was called Donkey Kong. I might be getting that wrong, but anyway, as I recall, the point of the original Mario game or whatever was just to like jump up some platforms and save the princess from Donkey Kong, which is quite interesting. And from what I know about the original like setup of Mario, he wasn't originally going to jump, but then someone said to the creator, I think it was Miyamoto, could have been someone else. Someone said to him, "Hey, if a barrel was coming at you, what would you do? You would jump." Exactly. And you can see how this sort of time theme plays out. Oh, and by the way, I love the cannon there. That's shaped like a gorilla. That's a nice touch. Again, referencing Donkey Kong. And to talk about the theme of this level, again, it's sort of childlike, and you can probably hear the sort of background music is like a wind-up toy box. And yeah, I really like it. I think it definitely complements the sort of childhood theme of this stage. It's sort of Tim looking back at his past, I suppose. You know, we're looking back to see how this all started, to see how it all happened, as it were. And this sort of brings up an annoying aspect about this sort of a game mechanic here, is that whenever you move left, there's probably a good chance you'll bring one of these suckers back to life. And also at this point, I sort of get it into my head that I need to use this Goomba on the far left. And yes, still calling them Goombas. But like I was saying, I got the impression that I needed to use that guy, but I don't think I do. So I don't know what I was thinking really, but there you go. Yeah, now this one's a little bit tricky because you need to jump on him to get across, but you need to like sort of jump and then move left in midair because you need him alive, which can be a tricky manoeuvre, but a bit of practice. Oh, yeah, nearly got myself stuck there. Yeah, so this game mechanic, it can be quite mind-bending, but with a bit of persistence, a little endurance, it shouldn't give you too much trouble. And luckily you can see the items you need, like the keys, are glowing green, so luckily they're unaffected. And again, you can see I'm sort of making my trip backwards a little more complicated than it needs to be. See, all I have to do then is just move back to the right. But I don't know. I guess you know, it's this game. It's so twisty. It made me forget what I was supposed to do. But oh well. And I had to sort of edit out a few a recording hiccup there. Speaking of which, yeah, I am using Hawpitch for this. It's a newly acquired. I've had it a couple of weeks. Finally had an opportunity to record something with this game. So yeah, you should be noticing the qualities in 720p. And yeah, I'm really happy with the results of the recording equipment. It does come out good. Well, good looking, I should say. And now this one might give you a bit more trouble, the hunt, because what you have to do is you have to kill all the enemies to move on. But like I said before, whenever you move left, you sort of bring them back to life. But there is a certain sequence here. Obviously, you can see I start with the one farthest to the left, and sort of work my way from that screen to the other side. Now, I've said before that I really don't like these sections where you have to kill a certain number of enemies to move on. I think it's sort of a cheap way of extending gameplay, but in this case I like it because it's like a one-off puzzle. You know, it's not like in, you know, some of the later Sonic games where they just spam enemies. And, you know, when you play those type of Sonic games, it gets boring. Like Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Yeah, that was a really bad offender for that. But anyway, you can see the solution here is just try and do a double jump off this guy. There we go. Oops. Luckily this game doesn't have a life counter. Although what I do find interesting about this game is that it kind of makes sense why there isn't a life counter, because of his abilities. It's probably one of the few times where you can look at game logic and sort of actually come up with a legitimate reason for it. But anyway, you can see this guy here. You have to sort of guide him across by moving left and right. Kind of a little tricky here because yeah, we're surrounded by these piranha plants. Yeah, and I'm calling them Goombas and piranha plants when I really don't know their names. Sorry about that. You know, it is an online downloadable game, so yeah, it didn't really come with a manual. And hopefully when I move far enough right, I should say, I heard a little ding of my little buddy here collecting the key. So yeah, these enemies pretty much do bring a new meaning to the term useless. But actually, they're not even useless. They're actually useful to you. They actually help the player a lot. But yeah, this sort of you can see in the background there's sort of a rocking horse, and I guess the idea is that it's supposed to be like obviously Tim's childhood, like I said. But it also seems very sad. Like there was something about his childhood he didn't like, but that's obviously stated in the text. Now this one's a bit more trickier because you can see at the top I have to guide this Goomba by moving left and right, and sort of guiding him so the piranha plants don't get him. And I do have to point out a very important tip there. It's that when you rewind time, when you hold both the triggers, R1 and L1, on the PS3 controller, you can actually stop time. Because usually when you rewind it, it just rewinds at a set rate. But yeah, you can actually stop time, and I would advise you to do that to get that previously mentioned Goomba between those piranha plants. And I'm not really sure how I feel about that, because I'm pretty sure the game doesn't tell you can stop time, and that stopping time aspect seems pretty necessary to complete that puzzle. It's like I don't mind complex puzzles, but as long as they give you the solution, well, not the solution, but as long as they give you the means to do it. And see, at this point we see this Goomba here, and yeah, it's pretty much a repeat of the previous puzzle. But luckily enough, in this situation we get these handy clouds to help us solve this one. So yeah, and I must say it does feel like a repeat, really. Like this whole aspect of guiding a Goomba, it does come up actually quite a lot in the game. But then again, for a short game, this game doesn't actually repeat a lot of tropes. I think it's fairly creative in that sense. And of course, pro tip, when you collect these sort of jigsaw pieces, you do have to come in from the left, because otherwise obviously time will rewind and all that. You know, I also noticed it's snowing in the background. I'm not sure what that represents. I guess it's to act as a visual aid, because when time's reversing, the snow flags go up. So that could be intended as a little like an indicator to the player. Now this puzzle here, again, it's obviously like sort of Tim's childhood. We see him lying in bed, surrounded by toys, with his father looking over him, hopefully in a benevolent way. Because the story of this does point out how the fact that his father was a bit stern with him, a bit strict. But I guess that's a piece of the puzzle we're collecting. And yeah, you can see now the overall colour scheme of this world is very brown, very old. It does suit the archaic look, as it were. So yeah, I've been, just to talk about something else for a moment. I'm really looking forward to seeing the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, because yeah, this trilogy has been really good. It's been one of the best movie trilogies ever, but maybe. Well, it's definitely up there with like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, I suppose. Yeah, in fact, you could argue it's better than Lord of the Rings. I do like those movies a lot, but I did find that they do go on a bit. But saying that, they are based off novels, so also they do go on a bit. They're a bit long, but yeah, they're probably like abridged versions of the books. But oh well. I guess as long as you got the main themes of the books right, then it's not really an issue. Anyway, yeah, and going back to Batman, yeah, they've been really good, and people have wondered, are they going to reboot him again in another couple of years? And yeah, they are, because they want to make a Justice League movie, and I personally want to see that. And the thing is, with the Justice League, you get stuff like aliens and magic powers. But and you look at the Nolan movies, which are really like based in reality, or as realistic as Batman can get. And like, put it this way, can you imagine like the Martian Manhunter just popping into one of those movies? No, it would be like ridiculous with the tone. That, and because I like the Nolan trilogy so much, I think that should be isolated. Maybe when I look at Batman, I think of the animated series. There's like several film series and the '60s show, and essentially I'm just used to there being a lot of continuities. So yeah, that's we've got the Nolan trilogy. That will be like isolated. That will be its own thing, and maybe in some time we'll see like a Justice League Batman. And by the way, I love the joke here, because he only talks when you're moving. So you can only talk to him when you're moving away from him. Yeah, see, I said this game's kind of depressing, but there are moments of humour, and it's appreciated.